Succubus is a female demon that appeared in dreams in order to seduce or sexually assault virtuous men and pure women. The incubus was the male counterpart of the succubus.
The succubus often took form of a beautiful young girl, but a closer inspection could reveal deformities such as claws or tails. Religious beliefs say that repeated sexual activity with a demon could lead to the deterioration of health or even death. The succubus could also drain a man's life with the kiss.
Judeo-Christianity believed incubi were fallen angels who fell to earth because they had sexual interactions with mortal women. Since then, incubi have stalked the earth, seducing women in their dreams and impregnating them also.
Victims would report a heavy feeling on their chest and severe disorientation upon waking. The demons would attempt to seduce men and women away from virtue and purity by enticing them with otherworldly pleasures.
Incubi and succubi were also considered to be related to witches. During the witch trials, women would be accused of consorting with the demonic entities. There would be reports of women being seen sexually engaging with incubi in remote places, therefore marking them as witches.
While there are many stories of people being the victims of an encounter with an incubus or a succubus, witches were reported to welcome and invite the sexual interactions.
The Christi were the brides of Christ. They were women who completely devoted themselves to Christ. They were determined to remain virgins for their entire lives, thereby giving all their love to Christ and no other. Several examples of the Sponsa Christi were Saint Agnes, Saint Agatha, Saint Cecilia, and Saint Lucy.
The recognition of the Sponsa Christi became less common by the Church, and those that did choose such a life were viewed as oddities. Many people began to assume that because these women had no mortal husband or lover, they were more susceptible to demonic visitations.
If a person was to give in to the temptations of the succubus or incubus, they were fundamentally abandoning their faith in God and the Church.
Blasphemously renounce that faith which is theirs by the sacrament of baptism and at the instigation of the enemy of mankind. They do not shrink from committing and perpetrating the foulest abominations and filthiest excesses to the deadly peril of their own souls.
Originally, both men and women were equally victimized by these demonic entities. However, gradually, society began to view women as more susceptible to visitations, due to their looseness and lack of self-control. Women were viewed as fundamentally carnal, and were therefore more prone to sexual desires and fantasies that would draw the attention of incubi.
Succubi was believed to collect semen from the man she seduced and then would give the corrupted semen to an incubus. The incubus, in turn, would seduce and impregnate a mortal woman with the stolen sperm. A child born from this coupling would be deformed and more prone to paranormal and demonic influences.
The child would also possess many negative traits that would lead it to crime. Some accounts also report that relations with a succubus could result in a man's failure to perform sexually with his wife, and an incubus could cause infertility in women.
Succubi and incubi are integrated into every aspect of modern culture. They are often popular characters in video games, movies, and TV shows. Every version of these mediums takes on its own life, while still drawing from the medieval sources they originated from. Modern descriptions are often sexualized and far less horrifying than their medieval counterparts. Pay attention to the descriptions on how the modern audience's perspectives on succubi have changed.
The popular video game The Witcher 2 has a subplot wherein Reglas, a minor character, has a relationship with a succubus. This modern view, linking elements such as sulfur and hooves instead of feet, much like Lilith in the Bible is depicted, illuminates the blending of new beauty and old. Also, interestingly enough, the prevalence of the video game franchise had sold worldwide in the millions. The First Body is a 2009 movie wherein Megan Fox portrays a newly possessed cheerleader who kills her male classmates. The director said that she wanted the film to speak to female empowerment because the beautiful succubus seeks out power. Jennifer, now possessed by a demon, subsequently altered into a succubus, sets out on a bloody rampage in which she devours the boys, and it's up to her best friend to stop her. Jennifer must consume the blood of others once a month or she becomes very weak and plain-looking in the description below.
The TV show Lost Girl is based around a succubus with a very specific description. A succubus is a powerful female who feeds from the chi and sexual energy of fae and humans of either sex. A succubus feeds and heals herself by drawing chi through the mouths of her lovers, friends, volunteers, or victims, and from the energy created engaging in sexual activity. The succubus can kill someone by draining their victims of his or her chi. When a succubus is injured or wounded, feeding from chi allows her to heal at an accelerated rate if enough energy is taken. When some succubi can draw chi from multiple bodies at a time. When she is fed, the succubus is stronger and faster than humans and many fae and has a greater resistance to harm. And now for some trivia. Powers of the succubus include seduction and manipulation, resuscitation, sexual aura reading, superhuman strength, and longevity. Vampires can survive sex with a succubus as they are undead. Like other supernatural creatures, succubi can see ghosts, although whether they can exert influence over male ghosts is unclear. Other supernaturals, such as ghosts, vampires, and werewolves, apparently cannot differentiate succubi from humans as they can each other, possibly due to succubi's half-human nature.
So gonna be viral.
From many blog posts, the cult of the succubi in contemporary society can be seen. Sexuality and terror are deeply intertwined when talking about succubi and incubus. Homosexuality in Catholicism in medieval times could be a product of how incubus and succubi were featured. Now, they have a more desirable manifestation as opposed to a strictly evil demon. The demon would initially take on the form of a female known as a succubus, which would mate with the unsuspecting male victim. Capturing his seed, the demon would then take on the male form known as the incubus. They could also change sexes.
In another blog post, we found people who summon succubi and incubi demons usually wish to have a sexual or romantic relationship with humans and have failed. They also seek guidance from higher intelligence. All of the above qualities are valued and created with the belief in succubi. But understand the demon concept is part of a fear mechanism used to control people in the past by misguided religious organizations. Only when sex became a sin did people start fearing the sexual powers, which are now known by not only a few. Now in our modern overtly sexualized world, does the change in good and bad towards incubi see a difference?
As the blog clearly notes, that I have helped thousands of my students all over the world discover their wonderful relationships with their succubus-incubus lovers. Hope you were paying attention because who knows, you could be dating a succubus.